up, you guys? It has been a hot minute since I have caught up with y'all on here. I thought I would make this video kind of like a spring catch-up video slash a little bit of our February Galentine's book club. I was originally intending on making our February book club like its own video, kind of like how I did with our October fall book club. And I did get some footage. I'm gonna share what I have, but I think I'm just gonna like mesh it all in this video because that whole weekend just got away from me. So basically back in February, we had our Galentine's book club, and it kind of became book club slash Galentine's slash engagement celebration because one of my best friends in book club got engaged like right before that in January. She asked me to be matron of honor, which was so exciting and sweet. And she's the one who's not normally physically here for book club because she lives up in Jersey. She planned it out so that that weekend she could be here in Atlanta for book club as well as to do wedding dress shopping with me, her mom, and her friend. It was kind of like a whirlwind of a weekend because she was only here for a couple of days and I wanted to see her and spend time with her. So that's what I mean when I say I didn't film like a full-fledged standalone video for that, but I did get a lot of the footage of what we did. The theme was purple because our February book club pick was Funny Story by Emily Henry. And it just kind of worked out for me because this is what the girls wanted to read and I already had it. It was on my nightstand stack. So happy to kind of get one of those read and off the list. I'll share my reviews on this in a second, but just to go over what we did for Galentine's, like I said, the theme was purple because of the book cover. So some of us made purple mocktails. We had a charcuterie that had a lot of purple throughout. Like I had purple ribbons for our glasses. I saw this thing on Pinterest that was basically like a fruit tree. You get a styrofoam cone and cover it in like blueberries and blackberries and whatever kind of to hit the purple theme. We did the best we could. We kind of ran out of fruit, so you can still see some of the white in the styrofoam, but it's okay. I was happy with, you know, just having what we had done. The other like fun thing that I did for Galentine's is I made these little taco seasoning bags with this homemade taco seasoning recipe that I follow that Craig loves. And I thought it would be cute because I made these labels that said a little something spicy. Emily Henry Reid. It's punny, it's on theme, it's purple, you get it. But I literally made the labels just off of Canva and then printed them on some cardstock that I had. So that was a fun little take-home favor for all the girls. But yeah, we had the charcuterie board, we had the mocktails, cocktails. We all wore purple pajamas except for the bride. I had her get white and we surprised her. We got like white bridal slippers. One of the other girls in book club got her an engagement cookie cake because the bride loves cookie cake, which I thought was really sweet of her. And yeah, we had a really great time discussing the book and everything. Because of the PJ theme, it was like a slumber party. All the girls stayed the night here. And it was really fun. We just had a lot of like good girl time. Okay, so my review on Funny Story, this got like 4.5-ish stars for me on Goodreads. It's my second favorite Emily Henry book right behind Book Lovers. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I did not like at all People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read. So Emily Henry books can kind of be hit or miss for me. So I was happy to see that this hit when I read it. And even in all the Emily Henry books I've read, like even the ones I didn't like, her dialogue will just never miss. Like I am laughing out loud reading her books. Her dialogue is just my exact type of humor. Very, very funny, not just because of the book title. This one also hit on a lot of emotions, more so I think than some of her other Emily Henry books. I wrote down in my notes that I felt like this Emily Henry book felt more Abby Jimenez-ish to me than some of her other ones. Like there was a lot more like depth to the characters in this book. Me and a lot of the other girls cried while reading it. Like we had a very heartfelt reaction to a lot of the things that happen in this book. But let me go ahead and read you guys the summary because I don't think I've even done that. It says, it's a funny story. Daphne always loved the way her fiance Peter told their story, how they met on a blustery day, fell in love over an errant hat, and moved back to his lakeside hometown to begin their life together. He really was good at telling it, right up until the moment he realized he was actually in love with his childhood best friend, Petra, which is how Daphne begins her new story, stranded in beautiful Waning Bay, Michigan, without friends or family, but with a dream job as a children's librarian that barely pays the bills, and proposing to be roommates with the only person who could possibly understand her predicament, Petra's ex, Miles Nowak. And I'll stop there because I don't want to like spoil it or give too much away. But yes, I loved this book. A lot of the other girls did as well. And this was also one of those books where I love the setting and the town as well. Like you fall in love with the town she's living in, the people in the town, like both close friends and extended circle characters in the book and in the town. You fall in love with all of it. And I wrote down a couple things that I don't want to mention because I don't want to like spoil it for you guys, but there were some really, really sweet, tender moments in here. But what I really liked about it too is that in addition to the main character's love story, and like I said, kind of falling in love with the town, you also get to root for the heroine in a way that you don't always get to see in kind of like rom-com books, especially like very popular rom-com books. The heroine has her own journey of becoming more confident in herself, not putting so much of her identity in her partner, kind of like finding her own identity, her own friends. So you really kind of fall in love with her journey as well, and her growth and her character arc, and all of it just kind of comes together. So yeah, 4/4.5 stars for me. I really, really liked this book. The next book that I have read since I last talked to you guys is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I got this from a bookstore off of Marietta Square, if you're familiar. There's a bookstore there that's got, I think it's called the Reading Attic because it's literally in an attic. It's so cool. You have like a view of the town square from the bookstore. But I always just kind of wander in there if I'm over there, and Craig and I were. So I always say, I'm like, oh, let's just go look around. Let's just see. Let's just see equals Brandy is buying a book. But anyways, let me read you guys part of the summary of this book. It says, in present-day California, Eleanor Bennett's death leaves behind a puzzling inheritance for her two children, Byron and Benny, a traditional Caribbean black cake made from a family recipe with a long history and a voice recording. In her message, Eleanor shares a tumultuous story about a headstrong young swimmer who escapes her island home under suspicion of murder. The heartbreaking tale Eleanor unfolds, the secrets she still holds back, and the mystery of a long-lost child challenge everything the siblings thought they knew about their identities and themselves. Can Byron and Benny reclaim their once close relationship, piece together Eleanor's true history, and fulfill her final request to share the black cake when the time is right? And I'll stop there because I don't want to spoil anything. So I think this book got a 3.5 from me on Goodreads. It was kind of a little bit back and forth for me. There was the tug of mystery. You're going back and forth, like you're jumping timelines between present day with her kids listening. I say her kids, they're like grown adults. But her son and daughter listening to the voice recording that she left them. And then you're kind of also jumping back to the time that she's telling them about. So that kind of keeps you reading because there's an element of mystery. Like you want to know what happens. You want to know how we got from point A to point B, like from those times to present day. And you kind of are getting more and more information as you go along that hooks you more and makes you be like, wait, what? So there's an element of mystery there that keeps you reading. I thought it was also very like heartfelt. There's a lot of descriptions around like family dynamics that I think a lot of people could relate to, and also just like generational differences and similarities, and how we all communicate, and how all of our decisions kind of affect one another, and like how this domino effect of decisions can lead to these crazy events. It's about survival across generations. So it overall had a lot of like heartfelt depth to it, is what I felt like while I was reading it. But all of that said, it still was kind of a slow read for me. I was not just like flying through this. And I feel like part of that has to do with the back and forth timelines. Like that's not my favorite style of writing or my favorite like type of book. So that's kind of what gave it the 3.5 for me. But as far as like the gravity and the depth and all of that, it did tick those boxes for me. And I had seen this everywhere. It was a read with Jenna Pick. It says that there's a Hulu series coming soon. I didn't even know that. And I want to say it was Charmaine Wilkerson's first novel. Yeah, Charmaine Wilkerson's debut novel is a story of how the inheritance of betrayals, secrets, memories, and even names can shape relationships and history. Deeply evocative and beautifully written. Yeah, I was like so pleasantly surprised and impressed when I read that this was her debut novel, because I was like, this was very well written for a debut novel. Like maybe I haven't read enough debut novels, but normally you don't see like their first novel becoming like a read with Jenna Pick or a Reese's Pick or whatever. So I think that speaks a lot for this author and how good she is at writing. And then the last book that I have to update you guys on that I just finished is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. So this was our April book club pick. And yes, if that gives you any reference of time of like how long these videos are spanning, we had our February book club pick and now our April one in the same video. I've been busy, y'all, okay? I had to carve out time to film this. So But April book club was really fun. I did not host it here. I kind of wanted a break from hosting, to be honest, because I have hosted a lot of things here over the years, which is always fun. But I kind of just wanted to go out. I knew that in April it would be nice, like weather, before the hot Atlanta humidity hits this summer. So we went out to a new restaurant, new to us anyway, called the Chastain. It's over there in Buckhead, and they have a beautiful covered patio so that you can kind of sit out there, whether it's rain or shine, you're good. Everything that they served was either locally grown or grown themselves. Everything was so tasty and, like I said, just beautiful. And I want to go back there because they have a cafe as well. It's not just a dine-in restaurant. They have a separate cafe that you can either kind of take to go, or they have like a fire pit that you can kind of just casually first come, first serve sit at. And then there's tons of walking trails right there, so you could like get yourself a little matcha and then go for a walk. So I definitely want to do that with Craig and Peach soon, or some of the girls. I think that would be so fun. But anyway, that is where we met for our book club pick in April. And I'm just gonna be straight up honest, I did not like this book. It was so funny. I was like telling my thoughts about it to Craig, and he interrupted me and was like, it's okay if you don't like it. He was like, I feel like you're trying to find what you like about it and trying to convince yourself that it's like kind of good. But if you don't like it, that's okay. And I was like, you're so right. I don't like it. And it turns out I wasn't the only one. I think one of the girls said that she really liked it. I think one was kind of on the fence, like she kind of liked it. And then me and one of the other girls were like, we did not like it. But let me read you some of the summary. So it says, welcome to Charon's Crossing, either Charon or Karen, I don't know, Charon. The tea is hot, the scones are fresh, and the dead are just passing through. When a reaper comes to collect Wallace from his own funeral, Wallace begins to suspect he might be dead. And when Hugo, the owner of a peculiar tea shop, promises to help him cross over, Wallace decides he's definitely dead. But even in death, he's not ready to abandon the life he barely lived. So when Wallace is given 1 week to cross over, he sets about living a lifetime in 7 days. Hilarious, haunting, and kind, Under the Whispering Door is an uplifting story about a life spent at the office and a death spent building a home. So in case you don't know, this author also wrote The House in the Cerulean Sea, which I've not read, but that's how I like recognized the cover of this one because it follows the same format, and I had seen that one everywhere. That's the book that he's most popular for. And one of the girls was looking this book up last night when we were discussing it, and she was like, I think this is his least favorite book among fans. So I'm like, okay, maybe that makes sense. I don't know. But there were several things that I did not like about it. So this is just my opinion. Obviously, doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. This is just what I thought about the book. The first thing is that as I was reading it, and even as I finished it, it felt a little bit just like a very predictable retelling of an Ebenezer Scrooge story. Like a guy dies or is on the verge of death, and all of a sudden he was super cranky. He was a mean lawyer, and then all of a sudden he's like learning how to be kind to people and like how to be selfless and all these things through his assigned reaper and his assigned ferryman who's supposed to like help him cross over or whatever. So it just felt very, very predictable. And one of the other girls at book club said that as she was reading it, she felt like she could literally guess what the characters were gonna say before they said them. And I was like, I felt the same way. Like they're hitting all of these like stereotypical sentences that you hear in that type of a plot. So that was one thing, is it just felt very predictable. The writing also itself at times felt very cheesy, and I think that might be a symptom of that, like because it was predictable, it just felt, one of the girls used the word cartoonish, like it felt very like on the nose of like what someone in that circumstance would say. That said, the only thing that I liked about this book was the banter dialogue between the granddad and the main character, because the granddad was hilarious. Like that was my brand of humor. Very, very funny. And that's throughout the book. Like a large majority of the book is their dialogue. So that kind of like kept me going and kept me engaged enough. I will say I put off reading it. I started it Monday and finished it Wednesday of this week, and book club was Thursday. So I literally read this in 3 days, sheerly out of like procrastination. We used to have a joke in high school, me and my friends, that like procrastination was my biggest motivator, or that maybe I'm not a procrastinator, I'm just motivated by time. Take that how you will, but I did get the book read in time. And I think there were some Easter eggs to The House in the Cerulean Sea. Like he used the word cerulean to describe colors of blue a lot throughout the book. So every time I would see that, I would be like, okay, that's like a reference, I think, to your other novel. There were two other things that I did not like about the book. So number one, if you guys know me, I am a Christian, and there were several times of like mocking Jesus in this book just because it was like a joke in reference to dying or whatever it was. And that just like really like put me off. Didn't need to read that in my life ever. And also, like, it's not like they're mocking any other religions or beliefs, just mine. So I was like, okay, got it. Very off-putting, and could have gone my whole life without reading that. Thanks for that. And then the other thing was the ending. Like I said, the whole plot itself felt very predictable, but also the ending was so weird and weak and rushed, and like, I don't want to spoil it for you guys if you do want to read it, but I will just say, like, there's a character who, for all intents and purposes, is God. Like, they're built up as this like kind of scary being, the ones that the Reaper and the Ferryman report to. They're kind of built up to be this like tough as nails person, and then they just kind of roll over and cave and do whatever anybody else wants at the end. It's just kind of like, okay, that seems very like unrealistic and unlikely and unfitting given the character that you have built this person up to be so far. I don't know, it just wasn't a good book to me, y'all. And the last couple things I will say too, because me and the girls at book club were dying, I was like, there were several parts of this that were giving Twilight. Like, there's a part after he dies and he's considered a ghost. He realizes that him and the other ghosts don't sleep. Like, ghosts don't sleep. And I'm like, it's giving Bella and Edward when Bella finds out that Edward, like, vampires don't sleep. And then that other character, the manager, the one that's like God or whatever. You can skip over this part if you don't want to spoil anything for yourself, but he finds out that the main character has not yet crossed over, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna come back in a week and make sure that you have. And I was like, it's giving Volturi. Like, it's giving them coming back to make sure that Bella has changed into a vampire. So I don't know, I would not recommend this book overall. And that's it. Those are all the books that I have read since we last chit-chatted. I do have my nightstand stack here, the one that I've been chipping away at for a long time. So it used to be a lot taller, but I will show you what currently is on it. So you've got Fourth Wing, The Sunflower Sisters, The Bee Sting, The Girl Behind the Wall, and A Year in the Garden with God. So I will keep you posted on these and what I read next. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next video, and I will see you guys then. Bye.